After 3 years away, I returned to discover my grandma, a maid in the $1.05 million house I acquired, with my sister and her 3 children occupying it as the proprietors. She barely knew my face. I contacted my counsel that night. It is time to rectify matters. My world shattered the moment my grandmother looked up at me from her hands and knees, scrubbing a sticky floor in my house, and asked, "Who are you? Could you ever forgive family for that kind of betrayal, for turning your greatest act of love into a weapon against the very person you meant to protect?" So, my name's Elvis. I'm 31, and for the last 3 years, my life was basically a blur of airports and hotel rooms, translating between Berlin and Abu Dhabi. I'm the oldest kid, the quiet one, the fixer. You know, the one who just knows everyone's schedules, picks up the slack before anyone even asks. If you needed money wired across time zones at 2 a.m., yep, that was me. My sister, Maya, she's 28, and she's always been the golden child. Charismatic, always between opportunities. People just fall over themselves to lend her cars, their couches, because she has this smile that says, "The bill is tomorrow's problem." Me? I was the exact opposite. Spreadsheet brain, receipts in folders, automatic transfers with notes like "Grandma Meds, October." That was my world. When my contract in Lisbon finally wrapped up, I booked my flight home. 36 hours of airports, stale coffee, pure exhaustion. Then a rideshare to the house. Not just any house, you understand. The house. The $1 million+ place I'd bought 2 summers ago, right when the market was insane and everyone told me I was crazy. But I wasn't buying a trophy. I was buying a promise. A promise that Grandma would never have to move again. That she'd have morning sun for her orchids, a ground floor room, a bathroom with grab bars. That was the deal. I stood on the walkway, my carry-on bag at my feet, a plastic bag of duty-free chocolates for Grandma, clutched in my hand. The lawn was trimmed, but the porch? It was a disaster. 3 scooters, a pink helmet, a broken drone wing, a faded wreath that declared, "Bless this mess." It was January. No holiday cheer to blame. I knocked. No answer. The door was unlocked. My heart started to pound. Inside, I heard voices, cartoons blaring, a toddler wailing about a green cup. I stepped over tiny sneakers and a toppled laundry basket. Then I saw her, Grandma, on her knees, scrubbing under the kitchen table with a sponge the size of a wallet. Her sweater was hanging off one shoulder, a bucket of gray water sloshing beside her. She didn't even look up. I said, quiet, "Hey, Granny, careful." She just muttered, still wiping, "Kid spilled juice again. Don't step where it's sticky." My stomach dropped. "It's me," I said. "It's Elvis. I'm home." She kept scrubbing. No flicker of recognition. "Elvis," she repeated, like it was a name she'd heard on TV. "You a friend of Maya's?" My mouth went completely dry. I was family. I was her family. She finally glanced up. Her eyes searched my face, then just slid away, like my features didn't even register. I crouched down to her level. "It's me," I pleaded. Before she could respond, a voice sliced through the air from the hallway. "Can you take the trash out already?" Maya yelled. "Also, we're out of the good yogurt. Get the blueberry kind next time." She strolled in, ponytail messy, leggings, a baby on her hip. She saw me, and she stopped. "Oh," she said, a little too casual. "You weren't supposed to come till Friday." "Hi," I managed. She shifted the baby, a shrug in her voice. "Well, welcome, I guess. Don't mind the chaos. We didn't know you were popping in." Grandma, bless her heart, just went back to the floor. The sponge squeaked, a painful soundtrack. The baby, a stranger to me, reached for my glasses. That was the first crack. Not the yelling, not the money. Just my own grandmother, on the tile floor I paid for, essentially acting like unpaid staff. And that moment she didn't recognize me, my heart ached. I put the chocolates on the counter, took a slow, deep breath through my nose. The translator in me, the professional listener, filed everything. The tone, the words, the utter mess. A hot, angry tirade was bubbling in my throat, but I swallowed it. "Not yet. Not now. Where's her walker?" I asked, my voice dangerously calm. "Garage," Maya replied, shifting her weight. "It clutters the hall." I just nodded. Once. Said nothing. That first trigger landed in my gut like a stone dropped into a still pond. The ripples, I knew, were coming. But not here. Not yet. Let's rewind. 3 years ago, the family group chat exploded like a slot machine hitting the jackpot. Maya was in a pickle. Her lease fell through. Her ex left. Could she stay with Grandma for a while? 2 months, max, she promised. Just until I find a new place, with 3 kids in tow. At the time, Grandma was in a tiny rental, full of steps. She'd already fallen twice. I was in Tokyo, 17 hours ahead, trying to translate a patent workshop and calculating risk on the subway. Every lunch break, I was on the phone. We'll move her, I told them. Ground floor, near her doctor. I'll handle it. I found the house. Ranch style, wide doorways, a big yard. Ridiculous price, honestly. Still, I wired the down payment. Swallowed that mortgage like a cold, bitter pill. Title in my name. Utilities in my name. Insurance in my name. I laid down one simple rule. Grandma is the priority. Everyone else. A guest. That first month. 19 FaceTime calls from Maya. Can you Zelle for groceries? The hot water's acting weird. Do you mind if I use your Amazon for a few things? A few things turned into $600. Crib sheets, blackout curtains, learning toys. I didn't flip out. I told myself, we're stabilizing. Month 2. Unschooling supplies, extracurriculars. Grandma likes this fancy probiotic. My phone became a calculator with feelings. I put everything on a spreadsheet. I called it house. Cell F12 still has Maya's oil change, $89.99. Column H just says LOL. It's not funny. I'd built a whole schedule for Grandma's meds, set up pharmacy delivery. I even hired a cleaner for deep cleaning once a month. But after the second visit, the cleaner texted me. Hi, I'm so sorry. The lady said they don't need me anymore because there's house help. And I just felt a chill. House help? I called Grandma. She just laughed. I can still wipe a counter, Elvis. You shouldn't be on the floor, I insisted. It's not the floor, she'd say. It's just low. I asked Maya directly. What happened to the cleaner? We don't need strangers in the house every time, she sniffed. Besides, the chemicals she used smelled bad. Relax. Grandma's 83. I reminded her, my patience wearing thin. Exactly. Maya shot back. She needs the exercise. Then one evening, while I was interpreting a late panel in Dubai, my phone exploded. 12 missed calls from home. Then a text from my neighbor, Mrs. Patel. Sweetie, is everything okay? The kids were throwing rocks at the side fence again. I told them to stop, but your sister said they're just expressing themselves. Expressing themselves? I messaged Maya. Please keep the kids out of the garden. Those orchids were from Grandpa's funeral week. Her reply? Just a picture of a sign she put up. A sign. That was her solution. I started to notice this subtle, insidious language shift. Your house became the house. The guest room became our room. When I managed to come home for a week that spring, I found a chalkboard by the fridge, a schedule labeled Family Duties. Under Grandma, someone had written, sweep patio, fold laundry, make beds. My blood ran cold. I erased it. And I wrote, Grandma rests. Full stop. Maya just rolled her eyes. You're so dramatic, she scoffed. Boundaries aren't drama, I shot back. She shrugged. Well, boundaries are a two-way street. You can't just drop rules from overseas like a landlord. I am the landlord, I said, my voice dangerously even. She gave me this smile, but her eyes were cold. Your family, she said. After I left again, the bills started to creep up. Water spiked. Then electricity. 2 space heaters appeared on the bill. In July. I asked why. Kids like it cozy, Maya texted back. In August, a $379 charge for a trampoline. I wrote, return it. She sent a photo of the kids jumping, hair flying. Too late. They love it. September brought the first real emergency. Car broke down. Need $1,200 today. I sent $800, but I asked for an invoice. What did she send? A screenshot of Venmo requests to 3 different people. Caption, community care. Unbelievable. Every single time I pushed back, I became the villain. In their story, I owned this house, and therefore, I owed the world. A cousin at a barbecue even said, heard you're rich now. I just laughed. I translate presentations, I told him. But the number that truly mattered, the one that kept me up at night, wasn't my income. It was $3,487. That was my monthly nut. Mortgage, insurance, taxes, utilities, meds, groceries. I could recite it in my sleep. Meanwhile, Grandma started confusing days. Sometimes, she'd call me at 3 a.m. my time, asking if I'd seen her blue cardigan. I'd humor her, open the closet via FaceTime, talk about the weather. She'd settle if I promised pancakes on Sunday. My heart broke a little more each time. Then, last fall, a message from the HOA. A complaint. Domestics doing yard work during quiet hours. Domestics? We didn't have staff. We had Grandma. I asked Maya again, directly, my voice strained. Who is cleaning? Grandma likes to keep busy, she said, dismissive. She says it makes her feel useful. She is useful. I retorted. Her very existence is useful. That's enough. Maya didn't reply, just silence. By winter, I was beyond exhausted. I'd translated 8 straight weeks of technical panels, dreaming in other people's phrases. On my last job before coming home, I caught myself saying something profound, something for me, out loud into the mic. To clarify, he's not saying you can't do it. He's saying you can't do it for free. The whole room laughed. Because sometimes, the truth sounds that simple. That's when I booked a flight home. I didn't tell Maya the exact day. I needed to see the house, the real texture of it, unedited. I needed to know if my fear was just a story I was telling myself, or a hard, undeniable fact. And that's exactly how I walked into my kitchen and found my grandmother on her knees with a sponge, and my sister Maya. Well, Maya was calling me you. Like I wasn't even me. Why is her walker in the garage? I asked again, my voice steady, though my insides were churning. Maya shifted the baby to her other hip. Because she uses the counters, she said, dismissive. We're minimizing clutter. Chill. My blood ran cold. Where is she sleeping? I pressed. In the office. The office doesn't have the hospital bed. I exclaimed. It does now, she snapped. We swapped rooms because the kids needed the bigger one. Grandma looked up, a small, sad smile. I like the office, she offered, like a child trying to convince a teacher an assignment was fun. You like the window? I said, my voice tight. Or do you like the narrow doorway? Maya snorted. He comes in once a year and wants to rearrange our whole life. I repeated, my voice rising. She caught herself. Grandma's life, she corrected, but it was too late. Just then, a boy ran in full speed, socks sliding, and crashed right into my shin. Ow, he whined, offended, like I'd stubbed him. Where's the respect? Grandma said mildly, wiping at a phantom spot. I dropped my bag, walked straight to the garage. Behind a stack of bins labeled MUI Keep, I found the walker. I brought it in. This stays, I declared. Maya watched me, arms crossed. You're making a scene. I looked straight at her. I haven't even started. She lifted her chin defiantly. We're family. We help each other. You offered the house. Don't act like it's a favor you can just dangle over our heads. I didn't offer you a staff, I said, my voice cutting through the air. I offered Grandma a home. It's both, she insisted. You can't separate it. I can't. I said. I am. We stared at each other, the tension thick enough to cut with a knife. The baby cooed innocently. The TV blared about a limited-time toy. Dinner at 6, Maya said, like she was the gracious host. We're ordering Thai. Can you grab the food? Your card's on the app. I stood there, quiet, for what felt like an eternity. Then, very calmly, I said, no. Her eyebrows shot up. No, I clarified. No to the card. No to the errands. No to you treating Grandma like a live-in. Maya's eyes immediately welled up with tears, like someone had just turned on a faucet. Her voice went high, frantic. You don't understand how hard it is with 3 kids. I'm doing my best. I believe you, I said, my voice steady. But your best doesn't get to be paid for with her knees. She blinked fast, stunned. So what? You're going to evict your own sister? In this economy, this isn't about revenge, I said, the words landing hard, before I could even soften them. This is about closure. Closure, she repeated, like it was a punchline. I'm closing the gap between what I paid for and what's actually happening, I explained. I'm closing the gap between guest and owner. I'm closing the gap where Grandma cleans your mess for rent you don't pay. She let out a single, ugly laugh. Rent? We're family. You said we could stay 2 months, I reminded her. It's been 19. She opened her mouth to argue, then clamped it shut. The baby started to fuss. One of the boys yelled from the hallway, Mom. He ate the blue Play-Doh. I looked at Grandma, my voice softening. Do you want pancakes tomorrow? Her mouth quirked into a small smile. With blueberries? she asked. Yeah, I said. With blueberries. Maya's phone buzzed. She glanced at it, agitated. Look, I can't do this right now, she said. We'll talk after bedtime. I just nodded. We'll talk tonight. Fine, she snapped. Just stop judging me. You've been on vacation. I thought of 12-hour days in headsets, suits that pinched, the constant pressure. Right, I said. Vacation. That night, after everyone had retreated into their screens and then into sleep, I stood in the doorway of the office. I listened to Grandma snore softly in a room that was never designed for her. I quietly set her walker by her bed. Then, I went to the kitchen table, opened my laptop, and clicked into a folder I'd labeled House. Legal. I didn't write an angry message. I wrote a list. Dates, amounts, broken promises, photos. I attached the HOA letter about domestics, the water bill spike, that trampoline. Receipt. I scrolled through texts where 2 months became till the school year ends, which became the kids need stability, which morphed into the market is crazy. I drafted one email. Subject, immediate steps. The tone? Exactly how I speak when two CEOs are fighting. Neutral, plain, final. Then I called my lawyer. He answered on the second ring. Elvis, burning the midnight oil. Yeah, I said. It's time to set things right. I didn't sleep a wink. I made coffee at 5:12 a.m., watching the sky outside slowly turn from bruised purple to pale gray. The house was finally quiet in a way it never was online. No typing clicks, no translation relays, just the steady hum of a refrigerator I paid for and kids' artwork taped to cabinets I chose. At 7:03, my phone pinged. It was my lawyer. Got your email, he wrote. We can proceed on 3 tracks. 1. Formal notice to vacate per guest agreement. 2. Immediate safety modifications for your grandmother. 3. Cost accounting for damages. Want me to draft? I typed yes to all 3. That morning, I cooked pancakes. The house slowly woke up around me. The middle child wandered in, rubbing his eyes. Do you work here? He asked, completely sincere. I live here, I said. Like mommy. Like grandma, I corrected. Maya came in last, hair in a messy bun, scrolling on her phone. She didn't say good morning. She saw the pancakes. Oh, good. You cooked. They're for grandma, I said. And the kids. She poured coffee, leaning against the counter. So, about last night. You'll get an email this afternoon, I interrupted. From my lawyer. She blinked. You're kidding. I slid a plate to grandma, cut a pancake into quarters. She smiled, a little blueberry on her lip. Elvis, Maya said, her voice low, dangerous. You can't be serious. I am, I said, meeting her gaze. This stops. Her eyes filled with tears again. Where am I supposed to go? I asked you the same question 19 months ago. I reminded her. You said 2 months. I swear it's not that simple, she cried. It wasn't simple when I bought this place. I shot back. I did it anyway. And you think paperwork will make you the hero? She whispered, venom in her tone. Everyone will know you threw us out. I met her eyes, unflinching. Everyone will know I stopped my grandmother from being a maid in her own home. Her jaw clenched. I never. You did. I cut her off. Not because you're evil, but because it was easy. Silence. The kids argued about syrup, oblivious. Grandma hummed softly, her fork steady. At 11:27, the email went out. A formal notice to vacate, in 60 days, with an incentive. I'd cover her first month's rent in a smaller place if she left in 30. A detailed list of safety changes. Walker in the hall, rugs with grips, grab bars reinstalled, cleaning service reinstated weekly. I even offered to pay for 3 afternoons of childcare a week for 1 month to help her pack. At 12:02, my phone started vibrating like it had a fever. Texts flooded in. Mom, are you serious? Aunt Lena, family doesn't do this. Cousin Joe, call me, this looks bad. Unknown numbers. You monster. The family group chat? 47 new messages. Maya? 26 missed calls. I set the phone face down. And I made grandma tea. At 2:40, my lawyer called. You'll get blowback, he warned. Stay boring. Landlords lose when they get emotional. You're not a landlord. You're a grandson. But in writing? You're an owner. Got it, I said. At 3:15, the first Facebook post went up. A screenshot arrived via 3 different cousins. Imagine being thrown out with 3 kids by your own brother because he wants to set boundaries. The comments rolled in. Praying for you. Men are heartless. He's probably jealous. At 3:20, I texted Maya. Please remove the post. We can keep this offline. Her reply? It's my story. I wrote back. Then tell the whole story. I attached a photo. Grandma's knees on the tile, the sponge, the bucket. Caption this, I wrote. No response. Day 2. My mother showed up. With a casserole. It felt like weaponry. She stood in the doorway, eyes narrowed. You won't actually put them on the street, will you? No, I said. I offered to pay for the first month's rent and childcare. You're making Maya look like a bad mother, she accused. She's not a bad mother. I agreed. But she made a bad situation permanent. You promised to support family, she insisted. I promised to support Grandma, I corrected. She's part of family. My mother sighed. That heavy, disappointed sigh I'd grown up under. You think you're better because you have money now. I don't think I'm better, I said, my voice tired. I think. I'm done. Day 5, the locks got serviced. Not changed, just serviced. The locksmith adjusted the sticky back door, replaced a loose strike plate. I sent Maya the receipt and a simple note. Safety. Day 7. The cleaner came back. She texted me a photo. Fresh towels rolled like little hotel amenities. She smiled so big today, the text read. Day 9. I moved Grandma back to the big bedroom. Is this okay? I asked her, my heart in my throat. She patted my cheek. My bones already said, thank you, she whispered. That night, Maya cornered me in the hall. I found an apartment, she said, her voice small. It's small. I'll pay first month. And the deposit? I asked. And the deposit, she confirmed. She swallowed hard. You're really doing this, she said, like it was finally dawning on her. Yeah, I said. I am. She stared at me. You changed. I've been translating storms for 3 years, I told her. I learned how to say no in 6 different languages. Turns out I just needed it in 1. She looked at the carpet, then at me. Are you happy? She asked, like it was some kind of trick question. No, I said. Not happy, but clear. Day 16. The movers came. The kids watched the boxes like it was TV. Maya labeled with a Sharpie, her hand shaking. I loaded the heaviest things. At one point, she said, thank you. It was so quiet. I probably wouldn't have heard it if I hadn't been so tuned in. Day 19. Grandma sat on the patio, a blanket over her knees. I thought I lost you when you left, she said softly. You didn't, I replied. I got loud. She squinted at me. You were always loud, she said. Just not with your mouth. We both laughed, a genuine, easy laugh. On day 27, Maya handed me her keys. She cried in the driveway. I didn't hug her first. I let her decide. And she did. It was awkward, wet, and very, very real. That night, the house felt enormous. I did the thing you do after a breakup. I walked room to room, not to gloat, but to reset. I opened windows. I threw away 100 broken crayons. I patched 2 holes where a dartboard had been. I found that chalkboard schedule again. Erased it completely. Then I wrote, Big Grandma nap time. Walk. Phone Elvis. I put a new photo up in the hallway. Grandma and me on the porch, both of us in sunglasses, her orchids blooming behind us. The caption in my head, she knows me. And the phone? It kept lighting up. 74 missed calls one day, then 19, then 8, then 2. The silence that followed wasn't peace. It was a consequence, and I let it be. People think closure is this dramatic thing. A slam of a door. A final confrontation. For me, it was a rhythm. Meds at 9. Tea at 2. Every Tuesday, pancakes. Every Thursday, we walked to the mailbox. And she'd tell me stories I'd heard 100 times, like they were brand new. I never corrected the details. What did it matter if it was her sister or her cousin who danced with the jazz musician in 1962? The point was her smile. One afternoon, I sat with her on the porch and explained, in simple words, what I had done. I told Maya she couldn't live here anymore, I said. Because you are not the help. This is your house. She nodded, understanding in her eyes. I like the big room, she said, and the grab bars. I just laughed. Me too, Grandma. Me too. Maya still texts sometimes. Photos of the kids in a living room that looks like, well, a starter kit. The kind of place where you begin again. She always adds that one line. They miss you. I answer when I have the capacity. I show the kids how to plant cilantro in a pot. I say no to requests that smell exactly like the old days. I say yes to birthday cake. Mom, She still thinks I should have handled it quietly. She sends long, rambling messages about compassion. I reply with logistics. Grandma's appointment is at 10:30. Can you drive? Sometimes she does. Mostly, she sends articles. A neighbor saw me pushing Grandma's walker down the block one afternoon. I heard there was family drama, he said, almost conspiratorially. There was, I agreed. He nodded. You did what you had to. No, I corrected him. I did what I promised. The moral of this story isn't that I won. There was no scoreboard, no dramatic courtroom monologue, no triumphant soundtrack. The moral is that boundaries? They are love with a spine. I wrote a check for a house. Yes, but that wasn't the real gift. The gift was refusing to let a sacred promise warp into a job description for an old woman with soft hands and a sharp tongue. A woman who taught me that saying no isn't cruelty, it's care. I used to think my role was just a translator. To make messy feelings polite. To make demands sound reasonable. To make my own needs seem optional. Now, I translate for one person only, myself. And here's the sentence that finally landed in my mouth, without a stutter, without a second thought. I will not fund my own erasure. I won't bankroll chaos to keep a false peace. I won't confuse silence with loyalty. I won't pretend that love means unlimited access to my wallet, my time, or my home. I will help, yes, but not at the price of harm. I meant it then, as a line in an argument. I mean it now, as a way of living. Every morning now, Grandma recognizes me. That, right there, is my closure. It's not perfect. It's not cinematic. It's just a warm kitchen, a steady walker, pancakes on Tuesdays, and a door that opens to the person I actually am. And you know what? That's more than enough. Have you ever had to draw a hard line with family, even when it broke your heart? What would you have done if you were in my shoes? Let me know in the comments below. I'm really curious to hear your thoughts.